My name is Vocab Malone, one of the three hosts of Urban Theologian Radio, Doctrine, Theology, Apologetics, from the inner city streets to the classroom seats and vice versa, back and forth, doctrine for the block walking. What's up? Joined by Pastor Bob, originally from the Lou.
Hey.
And Pastor Vermon. What up, D?
What's up, man?
All right, well, this is part 3. So Vermon and I know this as Return of the Jedi show of the Urban Theologian Radio trilogy, where we had on Tony from Hazakim, talked about hip-hop apologetics, had a D.A. Horton on, talked about urban theology in an urban context, and now today we got on Flame, and we're going to talk about this new album, Forward Flame. I mean, what you want to say about it, man?
Hey, man, well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on the show. Glad to be with y'all, man. Excited about the new album, obviously, and I think it's, good discussion, great topics, great content, and people have been enjoying it, so I'm excited to talk about it, man.
Does this okay, but now switch it to serious. You got a song on here called Absolute Truth. I'm playing a small clip from it.
Just know when you're dropping the ball, gon' sin. Okay. The Yahweh is not letting you off. Cause if you break one, then you've broken them all. And all your sacrifices will never suffice. Cause Yahweh only accepts perfection in life. So by this standard, Jesus is the true Israel. And the people of Yahweh are united to Christ. Grace.
Now on that song, I played a little clip of called Absolute Truth. You name drop Black Hebrew Israelites, which is not a mainstream thing everybody knows about. If you're in the city, you know who they are. How did you also make it where you talk about that type of stuff from a theological perspective? Help people that don't know understand.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a couple of different sects that have invaded the Black community, probably stemming from the prison culture. So a lot of guys, may end up in that space, and then they'll be indoctrinated there, and then they'll return home, and they'll start to proselytize, or they'll camp out in some of the high key places in the city, and they'll just share their message, and they'll bash, mostly Roman Catholicism, and and then they'll also begin to talk about our white Jesus and how we've been duped as African Americans to follow this white Jesus. And man, they've grown over the years at such a rapid pace. And even at my local church here, church called The Gate, we've lost some people to that particular worldview, the Black Hebrew Israelites. And then there are other sects, the guys called the Moors, the guys called the Black Jews. And these guys, man, they have such a sway, especially in light of what's going on in Ferguson, where they're very militant, so people think that their approach is more effective, and they speak explicitly against traditional Christianity, and they say that there's really not much leadership left in it, and that the church doesn't care about people's actual tangible lives, only their souls. So in this record, I said, man, I have to address this from a Christian standpoint, but try to argue that the reality is, that the scriptures, which they like to use in Revelation, where they try to say that Jesus was actually black, they'll try to say that that the black man is the actual Hebrew, the actual Israelite community that was spoken about in the Old Testament, and we are the chosen people of God. And they just do a lot of bad eisegesis, just really, butchering the text, and people fall for it. It feels good. It puffs up your pride, your ethnocentrism. And a lot of people fall for it, man. And you have those guys. There's another DVD circulating in St. Louis and other states like Chicago, New York. It's called Hidden Colors, and it's by a community called the Moors. And they also have a strong sway. So this song just addresses those things, and I use as the actual hooks, the actual chorus of the song, I talk about a lot of mainstream religions that we actually respect. And I did that intentionally to say these worldviews are respected, but I want to list these other ones that should be addressed alongside of those that we may not hear about in Bible college or seminary, because they have a major impact in the inner city, where I grew up and where I'm from. And I see it all the time where people fall away from the faith because they run toward that particular worldview, man. I had to address it in this song, Absolute Truth.
Amen. Peace out.
Sometimes you got to look back in order to move forward. 1921, same stuff going on back then. November 3rd. It was crazy. Same stuff going on today. Yeah, boy. It's the truth right here, boy. Yeah, boy. All the stuff we've been through, boy. Yeah, boy. We always pull through, boy. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Man, talk that talk. Turn it, turn it. They drew a line in the sand and they told us stand on that side. Over there, please. Now they started a new trend and the fans gotta decide. Youngins were looking for a model, no, I don't think they looking no more. Now it's like, to each his own, the moment's gone, about to undergo. The kind of change we don't wanna see. See the same people change to the wannabes. Cause they're living for what people think, but they don't see the link between their influence and who these youngins wanna be. But still we got the faithful, refusing to be shaken cause they don't value the public opinion as a priority. Enough to compromise and make the messages watery. It's necessary even though we're the minority. In order to move forward without deviating in the situation, we're looking at Jay Gresham Machen. Probably never heard of him, I know his name's strange, but what he contributed was a game changer. Christians were compromising with liberalism and the modernism, man, it was embarrassing. But Machen was bold and he brought clarity and put his neck on the line and his popularity.
I'm hoping you see that we've been here before, and they think that we keep going too far, but we remember your word as we move forward. We might suffer now, but we'll get a crown.
Sometimes I take them to class, boy. Class, boy. Yeah, boy. We can learn from the past, boy. Learn from it. Yeah, boy. Church. We just gotta hold fast, boy. Hold fast. Yeah, boy. Man, talk that talk. Turn it. Turn it. See, ain't it crazy how history repeated? Now we find ourselves in the same place. Dealing with the liberalism that tempted the Christians to compromise in the same ways. See, the culture says it was enlightened through modern science. Now our knowledge is heightened with new information reshaping our conscience. Now we live autonomously to our liking. And this shook the church up. Now some Christians panicking and trying to keep up. In order to be down or hanging some things up, some essential Christian doctrines have got to get cut. Sound familiar? Liberalism expanded. It's not only religious, the secularism advances. They stand firm in their convictions. They even function like a secular religion, putting pressure to redefine what marriage is. Certain things should only happen in the marriage bed. Between a woman and man is so discouraging, but we gon' stand on the word cause it's inerrant, man. We know the end, so we ain't gotta fear though. Just keep showing love, though they think that we the weirdos. We know the end, so we ain't gotta fear though. Just keep speaking truth, though they think that we the weirdos.
I'm hoping you see that we've been here before, and they think that we keep going too far.
What that does, it frees us from fear. Your ministries are moving into a time of cultural tumult, and you're going to be afraid. Some of you are going to be so afraid that you're going to want to negotiate away parts of the gospel. But the gospel defines us in such a way that we are able to see ourselves as the people of God within that cross, so that we know that the worst thing that can possibly happen to us is not being beheaded by jihadists. The worst thing that can happen to you is being abandoned to your sin, being cursed by God, being crucified outside the camp, and that has already